Hello guys, welcome to the Scholarship Analyst channel. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about how to write a very strong academic CV slash resume. Bit of a tool. Because most people don't have a very strong resume and they keep applying for scholarship and which they keep getting rejection or they are not getting an offer. Some people have a strong SOP, but their resume is not strong enough. So because you need you need to make sure that all your application document is competitive enough and strong. So what an academic resume entails, I'm going to be talking it about and be showing you a sample. I also show you a written sample in this video. So before I continue, if you have not subscribed to this channel, click on the subscribe button right now. And don't just subscribe, also put on the notification so as to get notification about studying abroad, getting scholarship. And also don't forget to like our video. So thank you very much. So let's get started. So now, writing a very strong resume is very, very important for you to stand out and stand competitive in application because it shows what it is more like it talks about you generally. It's just like a summary of yourself. That is what the resume is or the CV is talking about you. So I'll be using a sample straight up. So that I will not be parabolating around the bush up and down. So I'll be showing you a sample as an explanation. So I know that some people just finish their high school, they're looking to pursue a bachelor's program. Some people finish their masters, they're looking to pursue a PhD. Some people finish PhD, they're looking to pursue their postdoc. So it depends on which one. But either you're a master or bachelor or postdoc or PhD, you know, this particular section I'll be talking about, whichever section that you have something to put there, then go ahead. But if you don't have, you can just remove that particular section. So let's get started. So the first one is, as you can see, I use Mr. Somebody. There I stand. I don't want to use the name. So all these, not everything you say, they are fakes. So like I made the address and everything. So don't try to call the number or any address. So yeah. So your name has to be there. Your name has to be up here. Your first name and last name, your phone number, your Gmail. Your address is not compulsory. You can remove the address. So it's not compulsory. So then you have your educational background. You can see the education. You can see if you have just bachelor, just put it there. If you have masters, you can see, put it. And if you don't have masters, if you have high school, just put it. So depending on whatever you have. So it's not necessary to put your GP, but if you have a very good GP, like a very strong GP, I mean like first class, very high GP, you can try to put it, you can try to put that so that whenever someone look at your resume, so the person will actually be able to see that, okay, you are a very bright student. So you can put it, but you can choose not to put it. So it's optional, it's not really compulsory. So then if you have research or teaching experience, this is if you have, because if you are going for a master's and you want to get a scholarship or an assistantship, they always want you to have research or teaching experience. It's not actually compulsory, but it will help you if you have. But if you don't have, perfect. So if you have a research experience or teaching experience from your previous university, you can put it. And if you are a bachelor's or undergraduate student, I know you may not have, so you may not put that. So these are the research experience, and this is the teaching experience. So that's that. You can see, you can use any format, put some people will put the date here. The format you use doesn't matter. So the main thing is just the information that is inside your resume. So the next thing is professional experience. So the professional experience basically uh where you have worked before. So if you are working in any company or your duties, you can put it here. But I want to tell you that if you are an international student, and even if you don't have a work history yet, just try to cook something up with the company or cook something up because you're an international student, they will not verify your work history. So whatever you are cooking up, make sure you have idea about it, or make sure that it is what you can do. You understand what I mean? So because if you cook something up and they ask you a question, maybe they call you for interview and you're unable to answer, they will know you're lying. So make sure that is what you have experience in or anything. If you want to cook up something for, you know, for the professional experience, in case you don't have one. And make sure that you did not just graduate and you're putting professional experience. You have to make sure that you use your sense, everything tallies. So because dating is very important, dating. So it's very, very important. So then after we have publication. So publication is basically if you have published any paper in a journal or you've written an article. So this is where the publication comes in. You can put it here. So this is basically, if you don't have publication yet, this is basically undergraduate thesis. For the publication aspect, I will be showing you, because whenever you are going for a master's program, especially for scholarship or going for a PhD, having a publication is always helping. It's always very, very important. It makes you stand out. It makes you that you have experience, such experience in the field. So I will actually make a video on how to get your paper published easily, very easy without stress. There are ways to do it without going to some in-depth review and the likes. So I will be showing you that, but that will be another video. So, but if you don't have publication, you can put your undergraduate thesis. Maybe you work on a thesis or a project, you can put it here, either a project or a thesis, put it here. So if you don't have publications, do you understand? You can just put publication slash thesis or project. That's if you don't have publications. So then the next is peer review activities. Maybe if you reviewed, this one is basically if you have published paper and then they want you to review for people or people that also want to publish. So this may not apply to everyone. So it does depend if you are called to review papers. So that's for the peer review activities. So your certification, you can see all the certification here. So these are the section you will have. But if you don't have anything to put under this section, you may not put it. But if you have something to put in those sections, these are the sections you must have in your resume for a good academics resume. So your certification, you can see financial modeling. So like all these certification, where you got the certification from, the year or the month. So that's how it should be. Some people try to put it in a list. But so as to reduce space, because most times academic CV is not meant to be one page. If you have good information to put inside, it can be 2 pages at most. But if you don't have enough information, you can just make it one page. So, but there's no compulsory or anything that it has to be one page, except otherwise that the university or the scholarship is telling you to use one page. But in norms, your academic CV can be 2 page, 3 page, especially if you are someone that have written a lot of paper or have a lot of experience. So you can see that all the certification, where it was gotten from and the likes. So the next one is your professional membership. If you have maybe, example now, I can put my membership, I can put maybe NESA or Nigerian Student Association. Any membership, maybe social science, maybe faculty or departmental association that you have in your school, if you are an undergraduate or in a master's, any association you have joined in your school, just put the names here. If you don't have any other membership you want to put, maybe if you don't have a professional membership you want to put before I started using all those professional stuff. Initially, me, I used to use faculty association, department association, that those kind of stuff. Because even say all those professional membership, they are not going to confirm it. But either way, put something. Like now, I can put social science association, SOSA, NESA, Nigerian Economic Student Association. That kind of faculty association or department association that you have. You can put it there. They are also membership. They remember you pay dues. Don't you pay dues? So put it there. So if you have, so then award and honor. Do you understand? Award and honor is basically if you have received any award before, you have received any honor, any other scholarship. This was open door scholarship in 2021. So this one is a ALS scholarship. This one is Miami scholarship, Archive Research International. If you have any award and honor that have been given before, you can just go ahead and punch it in. So put it there, put everything you have. Then we also have skills. So this is more like we have technical skills, we have soft skills. So your technical skills, maybe at the database, any programming skills, any software you can use, anything skill that maybe computer related or anything software related, usage and the likes, put all the skills here. You can see Microsoft Office, Excel, Tableau, Python, put all the skills that is relevant. Another thing, not just any skills. Make sure that particular skills is also relevant also, maybe to your study, to your program, to research. Python, all those database, they are relevant to research. So if you have them, you can put it, especially if you're going for a master's program or PhD, you can put all those kind of stuffs if you are very fast or know how to use them. So yeah. So that's that also. But irrespective, just put all the skills so that they will know you are resourceful and you actually have something to offer to the school or the program or scholarship. Then we also have soft skills. The soft skills are like communication skills, your interpersonal skills, your organizational skills, your critical thinking, problem solving, just to show that you have this passion in you to spare people to solve problem, that you are someone that they can invest in. So this is more like to show that skills. But all these things you notice in summary, actually, I would say that everything in resume are not verifiable. Do you understand? They know that, especially if you're an international student, they are not verifiable. But the main thing there is ability for you to sell yourself. Ability, you can use ChatGPT to generate some uh job details. And whenever you finish writing or drafting it, you can send it to ChatGPT to help you to refine it. They say again. So like I can copy the whole of this stuff and go to ChatGPT, copy everything and tell it to modify it and make it more strong or anything, or more professional or more academic. Sure, you understand what I mean. So, so that was it. So the main thing is able to sell yourself, tell them that some of you have like 20 certifications. Just put the one that are relevant. If I should put all my certifications in my CV, I'm telling you, 2 pages I'm still writing. So, but just put the one that is relevant to the field or to the program you are going to. I just meant it. It's not about just putting like 20 certifications inside. Don't do that. Just choose the one that is relevant to your field and put it. So that's just it. So yeah, I'll be stopping there for now. If you have any questions, let me know and I'll be love to answer them. So yeah, thank you very much. I love you guys. Wish you guys success.